Hi, I'm Rob Cram, and today we're going to take a look at the Killzone Shadow Fall imagery used in the trailer and used in the gameplay demonstration. Now, firstly, when I first saw the demonstration, as with everybody else, I was mightily impressed with the overall look of the gameplay, but then on further analysis I've kind of put it into perspective and to see how it compares with other games. And I think what I have to take from it is the fact that Guerrilla Games have created a really fantastic looking environment for their opening showpiece part of the game. I'm not sure where this section is in terms of the actual game. It could be the beginning, but what they've done is used a lot of fancy effects just to create this wide, expansive kind of city environment. So if you look at the first images, you'll see like lots of light bloom, lots of depth of field, lots of movement, creating a real vibrancy within the city. I mean, if you look at this screenshot here, you've got that purple light effects beaming off the reflective surfaces. You've got the waterfall, you've got the bright sun in the background, so real fancy looking effects. Now this next screenshot, you can then see a bit more of the close-up detail coming into view, but again it's still very sharp looking, and they've really done well in the artistic direction in creating a fantasy, futuristic looking city. But they're not the only developer to do this, and I think in a lot of games creating a cityscape of this nature is quite a common theme, and a lot of companies do this. So for example, if we now look at a game, Spec Ops: The Line, you see that again they use the city of Dubai as a kind of backdrop, and they've used a lot of depth of field, fogging the background areas and focusing on the near field. And again, they've got this similar outlook in this particular screenshot here, where you've got these tall skyscrapers in the distance, fogged out, and then you've got the near focus. So if you move on to Mirror's Edge as an example, you can see here that it's a much different kind of look to the cityscape. They've got bright colours, huge vibrancy, an almost anime kind of looking game with flat textures, but still creating a wonderful, balanced and vibrant looking city atmosphere. I mean, if you've got that whole kind of panoramic view, which really does create a great impression of space for this game. And then again we go back to Spec Ops, and again you can see here the clever use of fogging to create that kind of distant effect for those skyscrapers, so you're not quite seeing all of the detail. And I think this is paramount with the Killzone demo as well. And here we look at Battlefield 3. Again, that's going for a more realistic look and highly detailed kind of environment, although it's a bit more war-torn. And then again the same kind of effects are used here, where you've got the fogging effect, depth of field. It's not a huge amount of depth of field, but it just creates that spatial element. So if we now move on to the character models, and this screenshot exemplifies the level of detail that the Killzone demo presented, and you can see that the character models are highly detailed. There's some good looking textures on the model, but as you will notice, and if you now compare this to, again we'll go back to Spec Ops: The Line, there's a huge contrast in the level of sharpness of the image. There's a lot more clarity in this image compared to the Killzone. And obviously the Killzone, as you can see, there's a depth of field in the background. There's a huge focus on the actual model rather than what's going on around. So if we now even go back to Killzone 3 as a comparison to this particular shot, you can see again Guerrilla using a similar technique with the focus on the character in the foreground and then the kind of blurriness, fogging in the background. And then as far as actual detail is concerned, This particular shot from Battlefield 3 shows you again the sharpness of the image. It's not shrouded in fogging or dust effects, although as you can see it's highly using the depth of field. As you can see, the tanks and the missiles in the background are not very sharp at all. They're almost kind of blurry, but the actual detail on the character model itself is fantastic. And again, this particular shot shows that cloth on the soldier's uniform. You can almost see the kind of patchwork on the cloth here. And again, more images from Battlefield 3, just showing you the level of detail for the character models, but also the lighting effects as well, and the shadowing, self-shadowing. The model is no longer a flat texture. You've got all the creases in the clothing. I think there's a comparison. If you look at here as a Gears of War, this is from Judgment, you can see the fact that the armor creates a more flat looking character, so it doesn't appear to be as detailed in terms of the texture detail. Okay, so we move on to first person. Now I think this screenshot here really does highlight effects used by Guerrilla Games with their Killzone demonstration. Again, you notice the whole entire area is shrouded in this dust. It's masking the background detail. In fact, you do not notice the further background detail. It's just completely shrouded in smoke and focusing on the near field detail. And to me, this reminded me with the motion kind of blur effect of how Rare presented Perfect Dark on the Xbox 360. Now obviously there's a huge difference in terms of texture detail, but it's using a similar kind of motion blurring effect for the Killzone, and I think that was quite interesting. And again, if we move on towards something like Halo 4, you can see again that the level of detail, they've opted for a more sharper looking image, especially if you look at the gun model. And then we'll move over to Crysis 2, and again they're using similar kind of effects where you've got that near side detail, and then as you move further away, you've got this shrouded in kind of dust and particles, which creates that kind of it highlights the level of detail in the near field. So it's a common effect that's used across multiple games. Again, we go back to this Halo screenshot, and you can see again the near side detail, and then a kind of blurriness in the background and fogging to highlight that level of detail in the foreground. This is a multiplayer screenshot from Battlefield 3. Again, using similar effects, a bit more subtle, but they're going for a more realistic looking look here. And this is what's interesting about the Killzone effects that they've used, in terms of it's not a sharp looking image that they're using. And we're just sort of cycling through Battlefield shots here, and then finally ending up with a screenshot from Medal of Honor, which uses the same Frostbite engine, which is offering a more ultra detailed kind of look. And then we'll just go back to the Killzone, this last kind of screenshots, and again this particular shot really does show off the depth of field. The background detail is obscured by the kind of blurriness, the focus is on the foreground, and you can see the kind of reasonably flat looking textures on that particular spacecraft. And then this final shot, again really exemplifying the lighting and the depth of field effects, with the character in the foreground being a lot more the focal point of that particular screenshot. Okay, well I think that sums up what I wanted to say about the Killzone 3 and just the comparisons with other games. I'm Rob Cram, and thanks for watching.